The 1.40 update brought us the 1968 Dodge Charger, but running this car online with the iconic Dukes of Hazzard livery may end up getting you a ban. There have been numerous players reporting getting temporary bans for sharing the livery with the inclusion of the Confederate flag on the roof. It's absent from this car in my video, but to me this 80s icon is something different than a war between the states. The General Lee, sometimes referred to simply as the General, is an iconic car from the television series The Dukes of Hazzard. It's an orange 1969 Dodge Charger driven by the Duke boys, Bo and Luke, although they did sometimes build them with 1968 Chargers as well. The General was known for its signature horn, which was the first 16 notes of Dixie, police chases from corrupt local cops, stunts including long jumps, and the doors being welded shut to force the Duke boys to climb in and out of the car through the windows. And of course, the iconic rebel flag on the roof. Bo and Luke were characters in a Georgia town who smuggled moonshine using the General Lee. Part of the show's inspiration came from Jerry Rushing and his modified moonshiner car, which was referred to as the Traveler. Rushing's car was named after the favorite horse of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The show's writers took this inspiration and named the car after the general himself, bypassing the horse and adding the rebel flag to the roof, even though Rushing's car was very stock looking on the outside. Symbols changed throughout time, and in the 80s, the rebel flag was more of a sign of Southern culture than hate. As a child being raised in the Midwest, I wasn't even aware of the flag itself as being anything other than a stylized American flag, but ignorance is bliss. The show lasted for 7 series, and the studio went through 325 cars. The cars that were jumped were immediately retired due to structural damage. Let me know how you feel about the General Lee in the comments below. Is the car actually offensive, or is cancel culture just going too far? As for the Charger itself, the 1968 Dodge Charger is an American classic muscle car, and it's the kind of car that makes you want to put on a leather jacket, crank up the classic rock and roll music, and hit the open road. The Charger was completely redesigned for 1968 with a sleek and aggressive body that features hidden grills and hidden headlights, a semi-fastback roofline, and a distinctive rear end with 4 round taillights. The car was longer, lower, and wider than its predecessor. This resulted in a more spacious and comfortable interior. The dashboard was also updated with a new instrument panel and optional tachometer. The car came with a choice of several V8 engines ranging from 318 cubic inches all the way to a monstrous 426-inch Hemi motor that produced 425 horsepower. The Hemi was the ultimate performance option, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds and reaching a top speed over 140 miles per hour. The Charger was also well equipped for its day with features such as power steering, power brakes, bucket seats, vinyl roof, and a center console. The Charger was also offered in an RT or Road and Track package, which included a 440 cubic inch Magnum engine that delivered 375 horsepower, a heavy-duty suspension, and dual exhaust system, a hood scoop, a rear spoiler, and special stripes. The RT was a true performance machine and was part of Dodge's Scat Pack line of muscle cars. This car was a huge success for Dodge, selling over 96,000 units and becoming one of the most popular and iconic cars of its era. Aside from being the hero car in Dukes of Hazzard, it was also featured in several movies, most notably the 1968 film Bullitt, where it was involved in a legendary car chase with Steve McQueen's Ford Mustang. And more recently, numerous Chargers have been used in the Fast and Furious series, driven by the main character Dom. The Charger was praised for its stunning looks, powerful engine, smooth ride and handling, as well as the spacious interior. It was also criticized for poor fuel economy, high insurance costs, and a lack of safety features. The Charger was a car that appealed to both heart and head, offering a thrilling driving experience and a practical family car all in one package. But let's go ahead and take it to Tokyo and see how it handles our lap. The Charger without aero can be a handful to drive, but by adding front and rear wings, you'll drastically improve the way this car feels. If you are going for a TV or movie car replica, it may be best to buy multiple cars with Hollywood cars for show and downforce for go. Fully built, the Charger ends up with 971 horsepower and 870 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 2,943 pound car, so it's fairly well planted as long as you have the spoilers installed. It's also quite long, so it's not too difficult to get it back in shape if the back end does start to creep out on you. Just like the real car, fuel economy isn't great, and we were able to get 4 laps out of a full tank of fuel. As for the tires, we saw 10% wear to the front and around 15% to the rear. Although the tire wear isn't the worst on the list, it is a little high for what we've been seeing in the later builds of the game. The car could end up chewing up tires if they revert back to a higher tire wear model. The Charger was a lot more fun to drive than I initially expected, and the fuel economy can always be adjusted using the different fuel maps. So this car is actually pretty good on Le Mans if you do bring it up to a fuel map 6. It's also got plenty of power, so sacrificing a little bit for fuel economy really doesn't hurt you. If you're a child of the 80s or a fan of the Fast and the Furious series, this car is well worth the cost of entry. I currently have 2 in my garage, and I may add the Confederate flag to one of them for single player use in the game. My understanding is there's no limitations on the liveries in single player, but you could face consequences if you bring it into the online portion of the game or upload it for sharing. That screaming supercharged Hemi really pulls this thing hard in the straights as well, and we ended up crossing the line at 1 minute 59 seconds .888, which puts it just behind the Honda RA272 F1 car and just in front of the Honda Amuse S2000. I'm always going to lean on the side of free speech, but free speech isn't necessarily consequence free. As a fan of the show and someone who's played World War II era games, I don't really see any issue with the car, but let me know how you feel in the comments below. Either way, I appreciate you watching, and please like and subscribe, and then I'll catch you in the next one.